the awesomeness of new. So today we're going to talk about co-creative genius fusion and quantum newness and how we create in that. So that's exciting. Do you want to kind of introduce it, Ushma, from what you were saying about your own project and how we're looking at that?
Yeah, so it feels like we've moved to a new playground. So where I had been experiencing just pure space, and knew that it was because pure source energy had expanded. So it's like the nothingness had expanded out and kept expanding and expanding and expanding. It felt like there was just space to do something within, but I didn't know how to feel it or what to do it. And yet I was creating very quickly. So the things I was writing just came out very quickly and got posted and were done, and that was done. So Soleira and I had a call looking at, okay, what is the next thing? Because even when I looked to see what was the next thing, I got very similar, that it was about creating a new source planet and the new energies for creation in that, the new colors. I mean, it was all very exciting, but it was things that I had already been doing and was doing. So it didn't fill any of the space in the same way. And so, yeah, when we went to look, I felt like there's a new space that I'm supposed to move to. And that space felt much more vibrant. There's a lot of energy moving through it. And that this energy represented an entirely new way to do life, work, business, my project. It was about, for me personally, it was about being an artist in a entirely new way and meaning of what that is, but also about bringing new creation to the planet in a new way with visionaries and innovators and yeah, so it's like a new network almost to spur and spawn new creation. And then you described the field you've been working with people in, and I'm like, yes, that's it. So if you want to explain that.
Well, I was saying how it used to be when I was working with people, and I'd go see their greater infinite being, and I'd call them present, and I'd ask for the greater purpose. But now when I look at people, it's just like there are these swirling bursts of newness coming out of them, like not almost like wormholes to another something. It's not easy to describe because you can't describe it in anything that's known. It looks brand new, actually. And so when I'm looking, there's new colors, there's new vibrancy, there's new possibilities. Nothing will fit the status quo as we know it. And so if you try and create in that space, it doesn't work. And you're right, it is a different space. And it's not just a higher space, it's more like an all-inclusive space. That's what I would say.
Yeah, like you are the center of creation. And I have that same thing, because like at some points I become a portal and I can feel the energies. It feels like my body's just a hole and the energies are just going backwards and forwards in time and creating something completely different. And at other times I'm literally sourcing the energies from my core, and it's and the energetics I'm creating are different. So you can't have in your head, oh, I'm going to go and create now, and this is what it's going to look like, because it doesn't work like that. And also, for me, it's like I just wrote a post yesterday, I think, about it's actually stepping into the bigger vastness of this, knowing you've got no idea how or what it will look like, but you have to say yes to it. You have to make the decision that's what you're going to do, and then the energy rushes and the impulses and urges come in for what you need to do next and next and next, but you're not going to get the whole picture or the whole plan in one hit.
And you have to stay very fluid in what I would call the quantum newness, like we were just talking about doing a next series. And so I could come up with the name and a concept, but then when I try and implement what it looks like, I'm fitting it into what I've done before. And you were like, oh no, let's do, so to put it in that quantum newness space, which is the only way I can think to describe it. It's like an effervescent, ever-renewing space. And it's not a, one of the things I discovered this week as well is that you don't just go to the invisible field where there's potential possibilities, genius ideas, innovation, they're waiting. It's like you rush into the field and you grab a whole bunch of them and you breathe them in and you breathe it up, and you, next thing you know, you've got a co-creative genius fusion, you could say, but you're doing it with multiple possibilities. Or you can do it with the all, with the collective. And you can do co-creative genius fusion with the collective, where you come into this quantum newness space. And it's different than people saying, oh, you could try this, you know, from what they know. It's not that. It's what if you unfettered your thinking, planning, scheming? What if you just unfettered it into quantum newness and let this kind of effervescent bursting of wondrous ideas just kind of pour forth? And what would that look like? And to me, that's a different form of co-creative genius fusion than when I used to talk about genius fusion. It was, you take a team of people or a collective of people, and you might have a project, and each one, you know, in the old team way, each one would give an idea and you choose one. But then it was more like each person would give an idea, or from their mastery, their passions, their creation, and you'd fuse those together and something more would come out of it. I think this is a whole other level of quantum co-creative genius fusion, which we're just about to play with and see what does that look like in this unfettered quantum newness space. Ooh, isn't that exciting?
It is. Like the two things I wanted to say about that was one was yeah, because before, whenever you'd say that you just bring the ideas that already exist, I'd feel like no, because I'm creating those ideas and those things. But now something shifted. It feels like that they've all been created and put into the space, and now it is about doing exactly playing that way with it and bringing it all in. So I think we go through cycles, but we're now in that cycle where it all exists in the air around us, and it's for us to really pick up and realize all of that, because that's where the fun and the exhilaration and the play and the power is. And if you try and play where we used to, it just feels like empty space, and you can do what you used to do in about 30 minutes of the day, and you've got the rest of the day to fill then and do something with, and you haven't quite got an idea how to fill that.
Yeah.
And then the second thing I wanted to say was, where we're talking right now is right at the cutting leading edge. So in terms of where different people are playing and where I've played myself in the past, the difference between co-creative collaboration and say before, when you worked with a group of people, and even if they're all visionaries and you were working on a project, you would try and come to consensus around each decision. And every time you try and come to consensus, you have to go to the lowest common denominator of what you can all agree on. And what you end up with is a very watered down version of the idea of more of the potential that was possible.
Yeah.
And where we're talking about playing is if you all go in there as the full power of you, you're not trying to compromise your idea or your vision or what feels good or feels right for the good of the group. You just bring it all in, and then the other person does the same thing, and then that gets built on. So you end up with something much higher than you would have created on your own. Yeah. So it's a complete flip on that from consensus to co-creation from that source place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very different. And especially, you know, in the past we've talked about you bring your unique genius, you bring your own masteries to the game. I think now it's another level. You bring your full power of source as original creator to the game. I think that's what you're pointing to, is up level at another level of co-creative genius fusion, which is each person's bringing original creation to an unfettered quantum newness space.
And you're not looking for the other person or the other people to agree and confirm that, because there is nothing to agree and confirm, because you know it, you've got the clarity of the energy of it. So none of that happens anymore. You're just that will spark something in one of the people you're playing with, and they'll take it to a different space. And or you know, you might have different projects within a project, or however it will turn up looking like you can't expect it to be prescriptive and look one way, and this is what we're creating, and this is the, you know, this is the plan, and this is how many weeks it's going to take, and this is what it just doesn't work like that. You're in the moment and you're co-creating as the fullness of you, and so is everybody else, and then you see what comes out the other end.
Yeah, exactly. And as you said, we haven't even done this yet. You know, we've done it in our own, for ourselves, each of us, but we haven't yet tackled this newness. We're talking about something that we're about to step into. So if anybody's listening to this kind of, what are they talking about? Of course, because it's so new, it isn't even in existence yet. We're just about to start playing with it, and that is so exciting.
It is.
That's where we like to play, isn't it?
It is. And these videos were not supposed to be talking at this level of what we're creating. They were supposed to be more kind of introducing people to the kind of space we play in, but we can't hold ourselves back and end up going right for it. So
Well, there you go. What great fun. Okay, so watch this space for co-creative genius fusion in the quantum newness unfettered space. How wonderful. Okay, everybody, have a magical day.